I'm joined with current council member for Place 3, Tom Scherlen, in to talk about his run for re-election. First off, Tom, I want to ask you how things are doing. I know we had a little bit of a health scare during one of the meetings. How's the recovery been?
Recovery's been good. It's been slow, me getting my stamina back, but that's what I would expect. The doctor told me it'd be a while getting things back, but I'm slowly getting my strength back. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm glad I'm back working for the city again. Glad I'm able to go out and see citizens. I was out basically 4 weeks. That, man, I tell you, it was a tough. I was 10 days in intensive care, and after that, I was just glad to get home and get out and start over and start a new life, basically.
It was pretty bad. You said you had to get a bunch of blood?
Yes, I got 19 units of blood, and right now I'm eating about 5 or 6 times a day. I just eat little portions and do that, and it probably doesn't help me. I mean, it's helping me a lot more than I can say.
Well, Tom, we are glad that you're bouncing back and you're doing well. And I know that even though you were gone, and I heard this at one of the recent council members, although you weren't there, you were watching online.
I watched online. I paid attention to what was going on. That way I didn't lose anything. There was one meeting I totally missed, and that was right after my surgery. And I just couldn't.
Well, you had other things.
Correct.
And I'm sure your wife was like, "Hey, Tom, we'll get to that point. I need you to bounce back."
Correct.
Here.
In fact, my wife took my phone from me for about a week, and I was lost.
Well, she was the one responding to, one of our producers, Devin, had just reached out to check in on you, and so your wife had responded to him. Okay, so we're done with you finished your first term. You're looking for re-election on your second term. Let's kind of focus in on the first term and what you were able to accomplish in those 2 years.
There was a whole lot of things that we actually accomplished, that we actually got done. And one of the first things I did when we came to the council, I think it was meeting 1, 2, or 3, very early on. I wanted to get rid of paid parking downtown, and we got that done because I know myself and other people, you come downtown, you hated to pay for parking. And to me, it was caused a problem for a lot of people and a lot of businesses downtown. And we didn't have paid parking after I think 5 o'clock or something like that. And that's the time we probably should have been charged for parking. But in reality, what I was looking at was getting the people, let them have access to downtown. They can come down, do their banking. You don't have to worry about a parking meter or getting a ticket or anything like that. I'm a very citizen-oriented. And if I hear something from the citizens, I'm going to get on it. We're going to find out what it is. I'm going to find out whether I can help you or I can't help you. And I'm going to be quite blunt with you. I'm going to say, we can fix that and we're going to do it. Or I'm going to say, that's your problem. I'm sorry. But the way we've got to focus is be real with our constituents and our citizens. Tell them what's happening. Tell them the truth. There's so many times a citizen will call in and they get a runaround. And there's no reason for that. The only reason there's a runaround is because somebody doesn't want to do the legwork or the footwork. So I think for myself, when I started, I said I was going to hold town hall meetings, and I hold them every other week. And it's been a great thing. Citizens can come. We can talk about anything and everything. I just know when they're coming, most of the time they're not coming to tell me I'm doing a good job. They're coming to tell me what the problems are. And let me tell you, we have solved a lot of problems with people in town. I mean, from trash pickups to dumpsters to water. I mean, I have people call me, hey, my water's been turned off. Can you tell me anything? That's something we need to check on. But in reality, our council has gotten a lot of good things. We started the Northeast Interceptor, which relieves the wastewater at Hollywood Road, moving it north to River Road. And that's a big, big thing because we're almost at capacity at Hollywood Road. And that's why right now we're in the process of putting the final plans together to redo that plant as well as the River Road plant. These are things we're working on, have been working on, and the Northeast Interceptor was the first part of that, which that was a very large investment. And when we get into the wastewater, we're talking lots of money.
Yeah. Well, right out of the gate, you guys had to deal with the flooding. I mean, I think you guys got sworn
2
in,
weeks.
and 2 weeks later, we were in some of the hardest times that we've seen in terms of flooding in a very long time.
Correct. And during that time, I'd been in office 2 weeks. I'm getting calls. I had a guy call me one morning. I think it was 5:30. Do you know it's raining? Are the pumps running? Yes, sir.
You're like, yeah, let me check on that for you.
But these are the things that we've got to respond to. Yeah. We got to respond. It's just like y'all in the news. You respond to any news that takes place in the top 26 counties of the Panhandle.
Right.
The same way with the city council. I need to respond when we have a disaster or if it's just a chug hole. Yep. And somebody calls me about a chug hole, I'm going to take it to the city. I'm going to say, hey, we got a bad chug hole on Bell or wherever, and they're going to fix it. Yep. It doesn't need to be a long-term thing. We've got phone numbers that somebody can call and report chug holes. Yep. And that's what we need to do, is respond to the citizens of Amarillo.
I know it's something that you were, your first council was very proud of, was getting our first responders that pay raise.
Correct.
Let's
that was a big move, because during the time we kept losing officers, we kept losing firemen. Our pay scale was way out of line with the rest of the state. We needed to get it in line, and now we're getting it in line. We're seeing larger numbers applying for the job. We're seeing retention, which we hadn't been. People were leaving Amarillo and officers going to Lubbock or going to Dallas because they could get more pay. We settled that. By the time we got that all done, I think we're in better shape now than we've ever been with our first responders.
We've got them online now with making respectable pay. How are we up to par with the rest of the city employees? Or
that's something I would love to work on. Yeah. Because in my opinion, we don't pay the city employees like private industry does. Yeah. And to get good employees, you know, when I ran the company before I retired, I found out one thing. I could hire that guy at $12 an hour, or I could hire a guy at $20 an hour. That guy at $20, I'd have to hire two of those $12 to get the same work as the $20. So I believe by investing in your employees is the best investment. It's better than equipment or anything else, because they're the ones that can make you from a profit to a loss. And when they're out there and they're happy, they're going to do everything in the world for you. Yep. And I think that is something we have got to do. I would love to go through. We tackled fire and police. Mm-hmm. We need to tackle every department. Yeah. And in so doing, I mean, we've really worked the budget the last 2 years. And we found we've come out with extra money every year. And this year we were able to put a women's health clinic in on the north side in Potter County, which Potter County has had the highest infant mortality rate in the state of Texas. And it's very important that we put prenatal, postnatal, that these children get the care they need. So we took $1.4 million of excess money that we found, and we put it there. The same way we did with our fire and police. They didn't think we had enough money. We found it. Yeah. The thing is, when we're looking at the issues of the city, we really need to focus on needs as opposed to wants. I think in the past administrations, we've had a lot of wants and overlooked needs. When you're looking at infrastructure,
that's a big one.
It's a big one. And you don't see it. People don't see it except streets. They see the street. They see the chug hole. And it's like those chug holes. Our first year in, first budget we did.
And by the way, that's the first time I've ever heard it called that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to use that now. Chug holes.
Chug hole.
Okay, I'm locking it in.
Now, I don't know if that's probably kosher or what.
I've never heard it called that.
But anyway, we have these chug holes, but our first year, we had actually allotted within the budget to spend $14 million a year. Well, it was going to be between 13 and 14.
Okay.
And we were going to take that for 10 years, do it every year, which was going to put us about $130 to $140 million that would go into street projects every year to keep it reoccurring. That way we keep ourselves up to date. Well, we did that. Well, then we find out we can't do anything to the streets. Well, why can't? Well, you haven't spent all the money from the bond issue in 2016. Well, that threw us in a tailspin because we already had it. We were getting ready to do it. Well, how much money we got? Well, we don't know.
We got all this money.
We got all this money, but we found at the end of it, and it took several months to come up with total, that we had $34 million, which actually equated to 38 because it made $4 million in interest in that period of time. So this summer and spring, you're going to start seeing a lot of road work because we have now spent that 30-something million. It's going to go on South Georgia from 58th to the Loop.
Okay.
So that's that little narrow 2-lane that's been there.
Yeah.
And then we will be tackling a lot of major streets that need to be fixed.
Okay.
And we're going to be spending lots of money
on the infrastructure,
Yes.
because if Emerald is going to grow and we're going to handle all of this stuff, we've got to have that. What, is there something, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, Tom, is there something in that first 2 years that you didn't quite get to that you're like, this is going to be one of my priorities? I know we talked about a little bit about infrastructure, but was there something that for some reason we just didn't get to and you're like, I want to come back, I've got unfinished business?
Correct. I mean, for instance, North Heights, we spent $1 million this year putting new water lines, or we're in the process of spending $1 million putting new water lines into North Heights. That project needs to be completed. $1 million is a drop in the bucket, but we haven't done anything in that area in 50 or more years. And they don't have the water pressure they need. They don't have the size of lines they need. It's a very big project that we need to undertake. And then the same way, when we go east and north, we need to develop those areas more. There's a lot we can do out there and draw the city growing maybe back to the north and east. Okay,
so let's talk about some of the, you said 2 weeks, it was like baptism by fire.
Correct.
2 weeks in, we have the floods. Over these times, we've changed the city manager. Now we have a new interim police chief. We've hit some really big governmental potholes, so to speak. How has that been working to solve those major problems? I mean, we had the sanctuary city issue. We had a lot of major things that kept you guys on your toes over the last 2 years.
And I will say this, during all these major things that have taken place, and there was quite a few, city manager, assistant police chief, assistant city manager. We've had a lot going on. But one thing I'm going to say, and I think it's very important for people to understand, we did it in public. We had the discussions. We had maybe even some arguments. But at the end of the day, we did it in front of the citizens. They knew exactly where all 5 of us stood. You never saw us come out with a pre-made motion and vote 5-0. Now, we've had 5-0 votes, but there's not that many.
Right.
We vote 4-1, 3-2, you name it. That is what's important. When we're handling these big issues, we've got to be transparent. I want to say what I want to say in front of everybody because they have a right to know what I'm thinking, where I'm coming from, how I'm going to sell my position. Sometime I sell it, sometime I don't. But that's what's important is how we respond to the issues. And I will say this, we don't dodge issues. we've handled every issue that comes up, and some of them haven't been pretty. I mean, sometimes we had meetings till midnight at night, but everybody got to say their piece. We didn't cut anybody off. We didn't say you couldn't speak. That, to me, is true government. And something else that the people need to understand is when you see us talking back and forth and maybe have differences of opinion.
That's happened, which is, it happens in government.
That's democracy. You're witnessing what our forefathers wanted us to do, to discuss it in front of the people. Let the people, and you wouldn't believe, and a lot of times during a meeting, people are texting me because I've got my cell phone out there, you know, and everybody's got it, and they'll text me, well, I disagree with you, or I agree with you.
In real time, this is happening.
In real time, I'm getting this, and there's been a few times I'm going, whoa, I'm way off the mark here, you know. But it's good. Yeah. I love that.
As we move into this election season, what is it that you hope voters will understand about what you're trying to do, what you've tried to do over the past 2 years, and what you hope to accomplish in the next 2?
What I hope to accomplish is finish the jobs we've started. We need to get this infrastructure done. We've got a plan, probably be to us by the fall. Yeah. If I get reelected, I'll be part of that. If I don't, other people will. But we got that plan for our wastewater and water situation. I mean, we've got plenty of water, and our water's good water. It's not lead or anything else. We test the water all the time. And there's been some talk about us having lead in the water. We don't have lead in the water. Now, you may have a lead pipe in your house that needs to be replaced, but for the most part, we don't have lead in our water.
And anybody can go look at those water reports.
Oh, yeah. And they take them, I think, 3 times a week. And you can, even if you want to, take your own sample and have it tested. And it will tell you everything that's there, you know. I was surprised to find out there's a little bit of plastic at one of the...
Yeah, some of the times when you get those back, because in real estate I've had to do enough of well tests, you're always shocked. You're like, well, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
So obviously our infrastructure, we talked about that, that's one of the major issues.
Correct.
How do we pay for that? Like in terms of, and I know you guys have, you've said that you've been really good over the past couple of years in terms of looking in, finding that money. It seems like these are huge ticket items.
They're going to be very big ticket items, and it's going to take, we're going to have to do some real hard work. Hopefully we can work with the feds to get some federal grants, work with the state, see what we can do there, and then we're going to have to probably end up at some point going to the citizens of Amarillo and ask them. We're going to have, but it's like I've always said, if I'm going to go to you for a tax increase, you're going to know why. You're going to know when the project starts. You're going to know when this project finishes. And what I would like to see is on the city website, let's put a dashboard up there. Here's wastewater. Here's where we're at. And as that thing goes, anybody can go on and see exactly where we're at with the wastewater project or streets. I would love, okay, we fund streets. I mean, if it had been me, this 2016 bond issue, let's put it up on a website. Let everybody see where we're at. Why are we trying to hide it? They voted for it. We need to show
them where the money is. Yeah. All right. So as we move into this next one, you've said in the past in terms of the savings that you guys have been able to find, and that's how we were able to get those first responders. How did you find the money, and can we find some more?
I think we can find some more. I think there's more out there. What we found out, for instance, last year, we have to carry so much in reserves. Well, in a lot of those reserves, it was being double kept. The city, third floor, was keeping it, you know, because they got to keep, I think, 3 months in case catastrophe happens that we can continue to run. But then we found each department was also holding money back. So we were actually had twice as much money set back as we needed to. This is where our lawyer we hired, he was able to teach us. I mean, we paid him, right now, I think the total I got yesterday was a little over 200 and something thousand. But then he's returned ROI on the investment with him.
Yeah.
He found us $2 million in our budget.
Yeah. I know that's been a controversial thing.
It's been a very controversial
in terms of hiring outside counsel, and I know that you guys have debated that back and forth. Hyde is currently, he's on there, but I think you guys approved where you could go, if you didn't want to use Hyde, you could go ask another attorney a question.
Correct.
So you guys have increased
We've got up to $1,000 I can go as long as the attorney has been approved by the third floor, okay? So we can go to Hyde, or I can go to Underwoods or somebody else. But the important, and we put a little bit more constraint on it because we did not want to just have a spending frenzy. But in reality, when I was in business, I had a lawyer. But then if I was a big issue, I went and got another guy's opinion and possibly a third guy. You can talk to 5 lawyers and get 5 different opinions. So it's important that we are able to have discussions with other attorneys, because we have Brian McWilliams, who's our legal attorney at the city. He is covered up. He is working all day, every day. And sometimes you need a specialty. You need a tax attorney, or you need a liability attorney, you know.
Right.
And that's where we got to go with it.
I know that you're a big proponent of advocating for our senior citizens. You made that a very big part of what you do. In terms as the older generation begins to age, our baby boomers are getting up there. Are we doing enough to provide? One of the things that I have heard from certain people is saying we don't have enough affordable senior housing here in Amarillo. Have we looked into that, and where does Amarillo sit? Is there more to be done there?
There's a lot more to be done in the senior area. We have always, we've done a lot in Amarillo for the youth. We've done a lot for the young people. When we get to the older end, there's not as much out there as what used to be out there. And ever since COVID, basically is when it really started, we have a lot of seniors that are at home. And they're not wealthy. They're living off Social Security. Their medicine's taking the majority of their check. For the most part, their house is paid for, but they may have to be sleeping in the cold. Now, they can go and apply for relief. But what we need is a senior citizen's place that they can go and they can get together and they can talk about old times. We have a building on 6th Street that we are in the process. I've got the outside redone, fixing to redo the inside, and we're going to get it done. I'm still in the process of trying to raise the money, which is a very important thing, and we'll be feeding meals there, hopefully have doctors coming in and out and this kind of thing. I would like to sort of piggyback it off the Transformation Park, because they're just right down the street from us. Right. And it's a lot of the same needs, to be truthful. Yeah. So.
Before we go, I want to give you an opportunity, if something maybe I didn't bring up that you want to talk about, or if you want to look right into the camera and talk specifically to the voters and say why you want to continue to represent them as Amarillo City Council member Place 3.
The reason I would like to continue to serve the people of Amarillo is I ran as a councilman for the people. I think that's a very important issue that we have to convey. I am the line, the conveyor between the citizens and the city. And I feel like the citizens have been neglected by not having good representation. Now, we all have a segment we represent. Yeah. But I want to represent all of Amarillo. I spend more time on the north and northeast and east than I do on southwest, because it's that part of town that needs most everything. That's the part of town that we have, I guess you could say, neglected. And that's what we need to work on. And I want to have open ears, open eyes. I've been out and walked ditches. I've walked alleys. Yeah. I mean, in fact, in the last year, we've cleaned up 650 miles, 680 miles of alleyways, which will be done twice a year. That's another thing we did. We're doing that twice a year to go through, clean up the alleys all the way through town. That's important because your alleys get to looking bad, and people, then you have rodent problems. Then you have all kinds of other diseases. But the thing I really want to do is work for the people and all the people, not just a select few. I want to represent everybody. I don't care if you believe the way I do. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to learn. I don't have all the answers.
All right. I want some important dates. I want to put these on everybody's agenda. Election Day is May 3rd. Councilmember Scherlen, we appreciate you spending some time with us, and it means a lot to the people of Amarillo.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you
I
bet.
appreciate it.
You bet.